Going on a road trip to start 2020. My first poker session of the new year. I have not played one hand of poker since my Vegas trip 2 months ago. I have today off. It's Monday, January 20th, Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. We get the day off at work, so I'm heading up to Thunder Valley, going on a road trip. They have had for the last 2 weeks a World Series of Poker Circuit series going on up there. The main event, I believe, ended yesterday, and there's one last tournament on the schedule today. It's a $250 buy-in, $25,000 guaranteed prize pool. So first place will probably pay in the range of $5,000 to $8,000 if I were to guess. So it'd be a nice little payday to start my year. So I'm hitting the road. It might be a couple-hour drive, but I'm excited to just get away, zone out, get lost in the cards. Let's get a big score to start the year, baby. All right, we'll see you in a bit. At Thunder Valley. I just signed up for the tournament. Hopefully it'll be like at least 100 players. That'd be cool. Yeah, table 7, seat 3. Good to go. Let's win all the money. Stone reads, win all the chips, bluff people, make the nuts. Let's go. 2020 off of the bang. It's first break. We've been playing for an hour and 20 minutes. Started with 10,000 in chips. I'm sitting at 10,000 in chips. Been up and down, playing pretty well. The only real big important hand I had kings. And I'll do a quick hand breakdown. It's pretty straightforward. I won a nice little pot. So I'm back to even where I started. Blinds are gonna go up. Now it's time to make my move. I had some lunch. I'm powered up. Let's start building those stacks. All right, later. So here's the first hand breakdown of the day. Just under my starting stack, sitting at 9,800, and I'm under the gun. The blinds are 1 and 200. I have a beautiful hand, pocket kings. I raised to 500. We're still playing a full table at this point. There is a pretty aggressive guy on the button. He's been bragging about how he's made 3 final tables over the last 2 weeks. So I'm definitely got my eye on him and I'm aware of what he's doing. So he re-raises to 1,500 on the button. I think for a few minutes, re-raise him up to 4,500. At this point, I'm good to just get it all in. I got almost half my stack out there at this point. But I had a little too much to move all in on him, I think. So seat 7 folds, he calls, leaving himself 9,000 behind. Pretty good flop for me, 2-2-10. I have an easy move here. There's 10,000 in the pot and I only have 5,300 left. So I move all in with my kings. And he folds. And I pick up about 50% of my chips. Nice start for the day. break number 2. I'm at 18,300. Had a good last, about half an hour. I was down to about 6 or 7,000. Went all in with ace jack of spades, got called by ace king, got lucky, flopped 2 jacks, doubled up, and I'm still in the blinds, won the last pot right before break, so almost doubled up. The registration is now over, so no more re-entries. There's 160 or so players entered, there's 130 left, so it's time to buckle down and get going. And final table, here we come. Let's go 7,000 for first. That's my guess. Let's do it. Bye. So here's the hand that really got my momentum going. I had tripled my stack up to this point. I was over 30,000, sitting just over 32,000. And this is, I have to imagine this is the best all-in spot I've ever been in my life. I'm just going to play it out here. So I have 2 jacks in the big blind. The blinds are 600, 1,200 with a 1,200 big blind ante. Seat 9 has 8,000, so he's just over 10 big blinds, so he goes all in. And he was pretty short. He looked pretty frustrated that he wasn't getting in any hands. So he was all in. I wasn't worried about him, really, just based on his mannerisms. Seat 1 folds, seat 2 folds. Seat 4 to my right was a really aggressive player. He's been in a lot of pots. So I'm not really worried about him either. I mean, I have 2 jacks. I have the stack to call both their all-ins. And when the cards flipped over, I couldn't believe my eyes. They both had pocket 7s. So I did a little research online, and in this spot, pocket jacks is a 95% chance of winning this hand, which is unbelievable when you think of a 3-way all-in. The only way they could beat me is if they make a straight with the 7. There's no way either guy could win because all the 7s are gone. And the flop came queen 9-3. At that point, they're both drawing dead. I had no sweat, and I took down the massive pot and ended the hand with over 50K. Okay, now we're talking. About 48 left. I just had a huge level. I was down to about, I think 7,000 has been my low point in the tournament. I got in one of the best all-in spots I've ever been in my life. It was a 3-way all-in. I had pocket jacks and both players had pocket 7s. They were basically drawing dead to hit a straight to chop the pot. So I won that. And I got moved to another table almost immediately. Guy went all in. I was in the big blind with ace king. I called. He had 2 10s. I hit a king. Sitting at about 63,000, about double average, and about 20 more people go out, and I'm in the money. So I'm looking for first. I want that ring. I want first place. Here we go. Let's keep it going. I'm gonna have a little snack. All right, bye. So after the hand with the 2 jacks, where I won the 3-way all in, pretty soon after they broke the table and I got moved to another table. The very first hand I sat down, I was with ace king in the big blind, and I took a pretty good pot off a guy who moved all in with pocket 10s. So now I'm sitting at 82,500. And just a little backstory on seat 2, who in this hand is in the small blind. He was playing very aggressive. If it folded to him, he'd raise. It didn't matter. Every time he'd raise. So I have ace jack offsuit under the second under the gun. Blinds are 1 in 2,000. I make it 5,500 to go. Folds around to the small blind. He calls. and big blind folds, and the small blind has 40,000 behind, and I have 77,000 behind, and there's 13,000 in the pot. It's a great flop for me. Flop comes Jack 3-2 with 2 spades. I have the ace of spades. I have top pair, top kicker. Pretty sure it doesn't really matter. I'm getting it all in if he wants to get it in. I'm not going to fold. If he's got queens, kings, or aces, he probably would have re-raised pre-flop. So at this point, I know I'm good, unless he flopped a set. In that case, what do you do? Blinds are big. You're not folding top pair, top kicker in this format. So he leads out for 10,000. And it seems like an information bet to me. I'm the pre-flop raiser. If he really flopped big, he probably would have check raised me all in. He checks, I bet the 10,000, he moves me in, and I'm probably committed to call if he had a monster. So he leads out. I move all in. I had 77,000, so I put him for a test for his chips, and he's got to decide if he's going to want to call off the rest of his chips. He sat there for 2 or 3 minutes, finally made a crying call. I showed him the goods, ace jack. Unfortunately for him, he had the second best hand compared to mine, king jack, top pair, king kicker. Busted him, he was out, and my stack keeps growing. This is awesome. Okay. I'm playing for 7 hours. We have 15 left. We're on break. It is 6 o'clock. And the minimum payout is now $528. So I am guaranteed to make at least $278. Starting the year off with a win. And I want the $9,000. It's $9,000 for first. That's what I want. I'm short stacked, but I'm playing amazing short stack poker. I'm not getting at risk too often at all. I'm just picking my spots. I've been playing tight, so it's time to start moving in, taking advantage of my tight image, build up my stack, get to that final table, win the 9,000, win the World Series circuit ring. We're going to be talking about this on Monday. Oh wait, we're off Monday. We're going to be talking about this on Tuesday. That's for you, Mark. All right, here we go. A couple minutes till we're back in it. I'm sure it's going to go by quick. Blinds are high. Let's do this. Let's just take it down. Start 2020 off with a bang. All right. Maybe I'll check in with the ring in my hand later. Okay, so we're 15 players left. The money is getting pretty good now. And we're playing 7-handed at my table, 8-handed at the other table. And the guy in seat 8 has been very aggressive. He's had a big stack the whole tournament. He made some really big calls against this young guy. One time he called him down with a high card and was good. Called him down with like 4th pair and he was good. So he was playing pretty well. And I was just trying to stay out of his way. I had a decent stack, but I didn't want to mess with this guy if I didn't have to. But at this point, the blinds are 5,000, 10,000. I have 105,000, so I have 10 big blinds. And I'm trying to make the final table. I'm trying to build a stack so I can win this tournament. So when you get dealt pocket sixes under the gun, you just got to chuck and pray and hope you hold up. I really am just hoping everyone folds so I can steal the blinds. And if I call, I just hope someone has 2 overcards and we'll have a coin flip. I've been really lucky all in all tournament. I had 2 times where I was all in with an ace and my kicker was beat and I sucked out. I hit my kicker both times. And I had the pocket jacks where I had the perfect situation on the 3-way all in. So I'm not afraid of all ins at this point. So seat 8, my nemesis to my left, calls and everyone else folds. There's a big pot here. Very important pot. Unfortunately for me, he flips up pocket 7, so I'm just crushed here. He's got about an 80% chance of winning. But I didn't give up my hope. The flop comes out. 5-7-9, he flops the set. Bam, 8 on the turn. Make my straight. River's a 3, and he's sad, and I'm happy. I just won a massive pot, sucked out again. So I just won the pocket 6s versus pocket 7s 2 hands before this hand. I ended that hand with, I believe, 235. The next hand I raised, a guy called, I bet him out of the flop. So I'm on a run here, sitting at 290. So it's just 2 hands after the 6s versus 7s. I get dealt pocket kings. I'm on my rush. Guy under the gun moves all in for 130,000, and I'm sitting at 290,000. So folds to me on the button. I put on my little Hollywood act job. There is the small and big blind. I want all the action on this hand. I sit there for maybe a minute, and I decide to move all in. The other 2 guys didn't have anything. So we're all in on the big pot, 435,000 chip pot. Flop comes out, king, queen, 4. Flop my set, river to boat, busted him. And this is the beauty of tournament poker. If you're patient, good things can happen to you. I'd say not even 10 minutes prior to this hand, I was sitting at about 60 or 70,000, and I went on the rush of my life. Next thing you know, it's 435,000 in my stack. I'm the chip leader in the tournament and cruising my way to the final table in my first ever WSOP Circuit event. Insane. Here we go. I'm in the final table. We're at break, probably the last break of the tournament. There's 5 left. I think I'm guaranteed to net at least $1,800. I'm the short stack. I got it all the way up to 450. I'm sitting at 203,000. This is my time to shine. Let's run it up and win this thing. 9 grand, here we come. Getting to this final table is a huge accomplishment for me. There were 188 entries. Sure, some people re-entered, because you could re-enter once if you busted out, but I didn't see too many people re-entering. So my guess is there were probably 160 to 170 players that actually played in this with some re-entries. So just to make the final 9 is awesome. It's really my first big final table I've made of any consequence. So I came in with a slight chip lead. The action was pretty quick. And when you get to the final table of an event like this, the pay jumps are big. I mean, we're talking $400, $500, $600 every time someone busts out. So at this point, I think we're guaranteed maybe $2,000 payout, 5-handed. And I was up and down, mostly down. I was playing tight. I didn't get too many hands to start the final table. I was kind of sitting back. Few people busted out. I doubled up someone. I think I had the slightly better hand, and it was an all-in, and I lost it. So at this point, I'm sitting at 180,000, and the blinds are 10,000, 25,000. So I have less than 10 big blinds, and this is my game, the power all-in game. And seat 2 is the older guy that I got into with earlier. He's sitting with a big stack at 400,000. And there's 1.8 million chips in play, so I have a tenth of the chips, and he has close to a third of the chips, or a quarter of the chips. So he raises to 75,000, and he'd been raising a lot, so I didn't give him credit for too big of a hand. My king-queen suited works well, and certainly could be the best hand. He was raising a lot. So I move all in for 100 more. He calls. Mr. Lucky all in, here I come again. So he's got ace jack, he flops an ace. There's also a 10 that turns a jack, bam, make the nut straight. He makes 2 pair, he bricks the river, I win with the straight, and I'm right back in it, win a 400,000 chip pot. $26.52. I repeat, $26.52. That is my net win for the day. 189 players. I got 4th place. Cashed out for $29.02. I just crushed it. Last hand was pretty straightforward. I had about 10 big blinds. It folded to me on the button. I had 2 4s. Guy on the big blind called with king 8. I don't think he should have called. I was playing pretty tight, but I don't blame him. I have no regrets. One of the best poker sessions I've ever had. The sad news is now I have to drive home for 2 hours and it's a work night, but it's all good. I have so much fun. It was much needed. My second biggest score of my career in terms of net profit, only behind the World Series shootout. It was a blast. I can't wait to do the video. And yeah, I'm so glad I came up here. Little Monday, make a couple grand, go home, have a good 4-day week. Hope you guys enjoy the video and the hands, and until next time, crushing them this year in 2020. Later!